Welcome to Inside Out, our new podcast series where people come together to discuss topics from in and around our ERG communities here at Exertis. Welcome to our next episode of our ERG podcast, which is called Inside Out. Thank you for joining. I'm going to be the host. My name is Alicia Waring. I have been at Exertis for 18 months. I'm a new business onboarding specialist and I am the co-chair to the Ethnicity ERG. So if we'll just start off with some introductions from you guys as well. So if we start off with you, Manny.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Manny. I've been with the business now 2 years. I'm the General Manager for Data Centre and I'm the Chair for Ethnicity.
Ben Clifford, been here for nearly 15 years this year, working with the creative studio team. I'm brand lead, so look after kind of all of the Exertis brand internally and externally, and obviously supporting the ERGs with kind of the look and feel around some of their activity.
Great, thank you. And so during this episode, we're going to be covering off allyship, which is why we've brought in Ben. Manny very kindly roped you in. But no, actually, we actually asked you to join this episode because you've been such a fantastic support for the Ethnicity ERG over the course of the last year. For me specifically, we worked really closely on the Black History Month stuff, which went down really well. We had some fantastic feedback. Even had some from Kelly Holmes on the imaging and everything that you put together, which was really fantastic. But I think what we'll do is we'll kind of kick off with Manny, if you don't mind just giving us a bit of an overview of what allyship actually means.
Yeah, sure. I think if you asked me probably 12, 18 months ago, I'd be like, it just means just being there for someone and empathising. And actually what I've learned over the course of allyship, because it's a big focus for us here at Exertis, is allyship is actually taking action and creating a level playing field for everybody. And what we've done, we've taken learnings externally, so to build on the Exertis allyship journey, and put together a training deck, which is instructor-led now, and we've trained over 300 people in the business already, and the remit is to get the whole of Exertis done in the next 12 months, is to talk about what allyship is, and it's really about taking action. And that's been the key focus for us. It's not just about sitting back and being passive, it's actually getting involved and taking a intentional step to be an advocate for anyone of any background.
Yeah. And how have you found that has been received, like the delivery of the training that you've done? Did you get like lots of questions off the back of it and feedback?
Yeah,
Has it gone down?
Yeah, I think in the beginning it's fear, because one thing we've realised allyship is so important, but it's creating a safe space for allies as well, because people feel actually, what if I ask the wrong question? What if I do something wrong? And I think if your intentions are good, and that's what we're encouraging, that if your intentions are good and your questions are genuine, we're completely open to answering them and wanting to take them on the allyship journey, because we wouldn't be able to progress as an organisation without having allies across the business, and that's why it's really important for us. And yeah, one thing I'll say, if you're thinking of being an ally, just ask anybody what it is to be an ally, and you can. It's however far you want to take that as an individual, because you can't force somebody to be an ally. I think that's really key. As much as we'd like everybody in the business to be an ally, it is definitely something that is an intentional step you take, and it's a learning journey in itself. But I think if you've got any questions, just ask. And I think if the question is coming from the right place and with good intentions, there's no wrong question to ask.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think if you are to ask anyone what allyship means to them, you're going to kind of get different answers from everyone. So what we want to do is kind of ask as many people as we can what it means to them. So Ben, for you, what does allyship mean to you?
Yeah, you've just touched on there, like it's obviously a question that's going to be answered in so many different ways from so many different perspectives. So I think for me personally, I think allyship is exactly what you've just touched on, Manny, which is kind of not sitting back, not kind of be a really sort of passive supporter of those communities, but stepping forward and taking that sort of step to offer the hand and offer your, support to the different groups.
Yeah.
And I think, it's interesting that you kind of say, kind of people not being sure on what to say or how to say it, and I think obviously being an ally, typically you can't draw on the experiences from within those communities. So you probably do tread a little bit carefully. I know, some of the conversations I've had, I've kind of sort of precursored them with it, like, sorry if I say something wrong, I don't know, let me know if there's a better way of sort of approaching those. But I think in my life, the way that I've kind of always approached it is to really embrace a conversation with somebody, and then, just why wouldn't you want to help people? Why wouldn't you want to, show that you support someone? So, I think allyship to me is just that, stepping forward and helping out.
Fantastic. And what made you start getting into like the ERG work that you've been doing?
It's not something that like kind of you just wake up one day and like, I'm going to be an ally today. I'm going to go and message man. And like, you know what? Like I'm going to do that now. I think we obviously did a little bit of work around kind of the questions here. So thinking back on things, I think throughout, from me personally, I've always enjoyed talking to people, really love getting different people's perspective on things, especially things I can't really draw a natural experience on. So throughout my whole career here and before, just having those conversations has been really important. Working with you guys and working with the kind of the LGBTQIA plus ERG over the last 6 to 12 months a lot more closely, has really sort of given me a sense of pride, I think. I take a lot away from it. It's something I've thought really positively of. I think it's such a great thing to be included and be part of. And the final thing, I think, from kind of when I was really thinking about the answer to this question, and there'd be a lot of parents out there that probably, have a similar sort of perspective, is I've got 2 little boys. I've got a 6-year-old and a little tearaway is just about to be 2, and turning 2 in like the next couple of months. Yeah, he's very different to my eldest. But I don't know what they're going to grow up and what path of life they're going to walk. Around sexuality or what they choose to do with their lives is kind of an open path to them at this point in time. And I want them to be able to grow up in a world where they are free from prejudice towards them, absolutely, but also one where they absolutely do not project prejudice onto anybody else for any reason whatsoever. So the more things I can do, whether it's little or big or whatever that can be, if we can do that for them, then that's kind of a big part of why for me.
For me, it's the same that I feel with having kids definitely changes your perspective on life one way or the other.
Yeah.
And for me, it was I just want to be the best human role model for my kids. And then I've got a daughter and a son. For my daughter, there's different elements I look at because you want her to have every single chance she wants in the world. And then my son, he's I want him to feel like he can do anything he wants to do also, because, we've had, growing up, you have certain barriers in life where you think you can't, and you want to take those barriers away. Yeah. And you can do that as being a role model, but that's why allyship becomes such an important play, because if they can see people are advocating for them and they don't look like them or they don't have the same sexual background as them, they say actually it's there's people out there wanting them to succeed and do well. Yeah, and you think, well, if people are going to do that for us or for me or for my kids, I want to do that for everybody too, because why wouldn't you? That's why I look at it. It's like, how can you not want to be an ally? To me, I can't get, people say, oh, I'll be an ally. How can you not be an ally?
Absolutely.
That's a bit I struggle with.
And it's leading by example as well,
100%.
isn't it? Especially for children.
Yes.
They're more likely to kind of follow what they're seeing and what you're portraying for them. So, absolutely. That's like a real important thing for me as well, I think, with the kids. So kind of on to the next question, which it can be kind of open really. I'll kind of aim it at you, Ben, but please feel free to interject, Manny. So what advice would you give people that are kind of, like, obviously they kind of want to be an ally, but they're not quite getting involved in stuff at the moment, or they might not be part of the IGs and stuff like that. What advice would you give to people like that on how they might be able to get involved?
I think it's easier said than done for some people. Obviously, everyone's confidence it sort of goes up and down in different ways. And if you're a bit unsure, I think just be a bit inquisitive. Probably ask. I think the communities that you guys have built, I mean, we get on quite well. I think, you know, we have a bit of fun and a bit of a laugh, and, you know, there's so much support there for everybody. I think if you can just take that step out of perhaps your comfort zone, if that's what it is, and you know, if you're on the fence and think, I kind of feel like I would like to do a little bit more, just, you know, reach out to Alicia, Manny, or anybody else in the business, me, you know, anybody, and just ask the question, and join one of the communities and groups, and eventually I think, you know, having seen the chats that we've got on Teams, or, you know, some of the events that go around, at some point there's going to be something where you'll probably sit there and think, I've got an opinion on that, or that person needs a bit of support, and it could just be a little heart emoji or a thumb emoji, which could then, you know, become a comment, which could then become an experience, which could then become a question, you know. And I think that's where it should start. So I think, don't feel like you've got to do something really grand and, you know, turn up and, you know, launch an event to show allyship. It could just be that person needs a hand at that point in time. I care for that person, and I'll do it in my little or big way, whatever it is. So, yeah, I think if there's anybody out there that's kind of, you know, and I'm sure there's hundreds of them thinking about it, the way that the work that you guys are doing is incredible. Just go for it. Reach out, chat.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Manny?
I think the same. I think sometimes if you don't know to start with the person next to you, because it could be a simple question as, are you okay? It's such a big, loaded question sometimes, and some people say, yeah, I'm fine, but sometimes people say, actually, I'm not, and you've given them that opportunity to open up, and it can just be something as simple as that. That could be a trigger to get people thinking, actually, that's what an ally is. It's just the person next to you. Sometimes it's simple. And of course, there's the active allyship, is what we're, Ben is an active ally, as I would say, you know, wanting to get really involved and saying, actually, I want to get involved, and how can I get involved, and asking those questions, because, you know, the ERG's got set up 18 months ago, coming up to 2 years.
Yeah.
There was no template, you know, you're just finding your way as a group and as a group of people, aren't you? And it just evolves. And we're all taking learning. So I think all the ideas are important, and something that's important for especially the ethnicity ERG here at Exert is we wouldn't be the employee resource group without our allies, because actually allyship is very important, because our group community is quite small at the moment. So having that strong allyship and people wanting to get involved and activate and advocate is going to be that big change for people in our ERG for sure.
Absolutely.
So for us, it's really important. But just start with one person. If you're not sure, start with the person behind you or next to you and ask them, are you okay? And you'll be surprised at how much of a difference you can make to that person.
And it's just asking questions as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, don't be afraid to ask questions like, you know, can I just ask why you wear a headscarf? Or, you know, can I ask why you wear a turban? Or, you know, can you just explain to me a bit about your faith? You know, questions like that, you're not going to know unless you ask, and absolutely no one's going to be offended. And I think, like when we were doing the Black History Month stuff, that was a common theme, just ask the question and find out. And actually, I think for myself, even I have been a bit sort of like scared to ask some questions. So, you know, I before I wasn't kind of an ally to any of the other groups, and when we kind of recently talked about it, I felt really bad. I was just like, oh my God, you know, I 100% support these other groups, and, you know, obviously I'm the co-chair to the Ethnicity ERG. You know, I absolutely should be an ally. I'd reached out after it was one of the Enable sessions, and I just reached out to Alison with some feedback, just said, you know, it was absolutely amazing. And she added me to the group, and actually it's been fantastic, some of the information that I've got out of it. And some of it actually, you know, talking about ADHD and stuff like that, which is quite close to home for me, because my nephew has it. So it's, just that has been like really enlightening. So I just think it is, you know, being an ally can be just as important as kind of being there as a supporter, as a member in the community, definitely.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's and if you think about it, if we didn't have these groups or allyship, we wouldn't be sitting here today. I probably wouldn't really know you, Ben. Alicia, our paths in terms of our work would never cross. So it opens up so much more than just coming to work and doing your job. It gives you a complete different feel when you come in, and it's something that I'm really proud of the work that we're doing,
Yeah.
and it excites me. This excites me more than selling servers.
Yeah.
But it's because you can make a difference. This is making a human difference to each other, and I think that what we've got here is amazing. There's so much more we're going to be doing, and I'm really
absolutely.
excited of what we do.
I think there's a bit of a preconception. You've got to perhaps know a bit of background to do with any of the ERGs. And you have to either, maybe there's a family member that needs to be part of the community, or, like I said, there's a bit of background knowledge. You don't have to have any really. Like, I think I know very little. The more I speak to you guys, and that educational bit is really important. So I think, there's no sort of level that you need to have before you can become an ally. There's no, preconceptions there. It's just, come in, like you say, ask a question. Everybody's, like I say, the communities are great that we've built, and more than supportive of anything that I ask loads of questions. So no one's ever sort of told me to go away. So.
No.
I think as well it's from a lot of the work that we've done over the last year with the ERG stuff, it has just opened up so many opportunities for personal development.
Yes.
And allies as well. So as much as like education and learning stuff, for me it's opened up so many opportunities, development, like personal development wise within the company, and I've learned so much more, and I'm kind of I'm being introduced to more customers and vendors, and even that side of it as well from a work point of view has been really great. Like I said before, I've been here for 18 months, which to me I don't think like it seems very long. So it's been really nice to just kind of be able to speak to more people throughout the company, and just see what other opportunities there are. It's been fantastic. So allies, anyone who's thinking about becoming an ally and is not sure, there's just so much that you can gain from it, definitely.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Opens a lot more doors. The more people you know in the business, you might find a path that you may not have even considered going down. And having the employee resource groups, allyship, it opens those doors for you to speak to many people, network across the business in ways that you wouldn't get to do.
And I think as well from a community member point of view, but also then from an ally point of view, we've obviously talked before about, when you're in a room and you kind of look around and everyone looks the same, there's your opportunity to talk about the other people that you know. But unless you get to know those people, then they wouldn't come into your brain to kind of bring them up in the room anyway. So it is a great opportunity, being in like the ERGs and being an ally and being in the community, to just get to know each other and just think about, actually, I feel like this person would be fantastic for this, which is what's been happening now. We've been very much kind of advocating for each other and saying, actually, I think you should do this. And when people are feeling a bit scared to take part, it's just like, no, come on, you can do it. So
elevate each other, for sure. I'm a big advocate of that.
Definitely.
So it's definitely something that's beneficial, and hopefully, especially with this podcast, people will sort of think it's not so scary. It's quite a fun place to be.
Definitely.
I've got a question. I'm not supposed to be the question.
No, you do it. You
So I was going to ask what both of you, because you're the chair and co-chair.
Yeah.
So if you try and put like an allyship sort of lens on it, what does the future of kind of the ERGs look like? Do you think? How do we grow that, or is there an area of improvement that we need? What more can an ally do from the groups that you've seen, or what is the future?
I'll let you answer that first.
I think we're doing a bit of research about your employee resource groups, about what the next step is.
Yeah.
Because this is just a starting point for any business. Is you start with the employee resource groups. Now some people are calling them business resource groups, I've seen, because they're trying to get people across the business involved in the different resource groups that they have set up. But really, the long-term plan is there shouldn't be employee resource groups, because it should be the DNA of your company. But it takes a long while to get there, and you have to go through this journey, and that's what we're on now. And that's why it's really important that having members and allies on that journey, because we're all part of that DNA of Exertis today. And if we're going to be part of that future, then that's what we're all building towards, and that's what it should look like. So in theory, everybody is an ally
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
as part of their daily working life, which then ties into your personal life, because you don't just switch off your allyship when you walk out the office, do you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Take that
5 day
hat
now. See you later. It doesn't happen. It goes on. It's something that you take into your life, and I've taken so much. So I'm an Indian person. I'm a Sikh person, and but I didn't know much about the LGBTQIA plus
Yeah.
community, and the amount I've learned over the last 12, 18 months. Once these employee resource, I would never have known what I know today if it wasn't for that employee resource group. And for me, that was the biggest takeaway, because sometimes it's just what you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that was the
That's a
biggest
big
thing for
one.
me.
Yeah.
And the only way you can get to know that is by getting involved in some of those conversations that you wouldn't ever have thought you were going to be having at work. But having that opportunity to do that and ask those questions, we think, I don't know if it's okay to ask it, am I saying something wrong? And you reflect back on your own, because you just want to be a better person and
Yeah.
being an ally. And that's why I asked a lot of questions at the beginning, because I wanted to learn and educate myself, because like you say, you want to educate your kids, you want to educate
Yeah.
people. There'll be someone that is or will be, and you want to be a support for them. And there's always a trigger factor, because they say for men it's typically when their wives give birth, they see their wives' careers take a bit of a downturn, so they want to be more of an ally to women. So the empathy always comes from somewhere when you activate that allyship. It's just different for different people.
Yeah, and I think for me,
I don't know if I answered your question there, but yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah, you definitely did. I think for me, I'm really excited about this year, because we've got like a really substantial calendar planned out for the year.
Yeah.
Where we've kind of all got together in the committee members have kind of got together, and we've put out there what are some key events that we really should pull out, and not just kind of all the standard stuff that we would normally cover off. And one of the key things for me this year and going forward is to really utilise the members and the allies that we have.
Yeah.
And just, get them involved. Like I talked about development before, reach out to them. And, we touched on being an ally doesn't necessarily mean you have to do all these big grand gestures, but just giving them the opportunities, if they do want to get involved, to really help out with us, because it really does just help to kind of develop your personal skills and your communication skills, and it really is fulfilling as well. It's one of those things where you don't want to just go, well, for me personally, I don't want to just go into my job every day and just like, okay, 9 to 5 and do my job and that's it and shut off. This part of it is really fulfilling, and I feel like I'm making a difference to me personally, to other people personally, but also to the company, and I want as many people to also feel that same satisfaction. And then it's like, so our plan is, when we do execute this this new calendar that we got out for the year, is to just put it out there and just get as many people involved as possible. It not only helps us, obviously, because there's going to be a lot of work involved, but I want other people to feel, fulfilled and to really get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
Like I said, it does that.
Yeah.
Like, I can advocate for that straight. It's so easily. It's just like you finish work, like you say, but you're all here to do kind of a job that we sort of paid for, and at the moment, like you say, I mean, it's a cultural building block. That's definitely what we want this to become. But having that extra sort of ability to talk to people like yourself, Louis, from Black History Month, the bonds and the relationship you start to create just make you feel so much better. And then you say that rolls on, it's a snowball effect. I want to know more about Diwali last year. I just I just popped out, you reached out and it's like, look, we need some support. Can you go and, help out a little bit? And I guess going back to kind of the question earlier around what is allyship a little bit, it's popping and getting some food so that we can encourage that sort of celebration a little bit more, because different cultures celebrate food and events in different ways. And it might not seem like a huge amount, like it doesn't need to, but just by going, getting that, putting a spread on, encouraging people to, walk around the office, come and, we've done that over, can you try it, and it just...
It's huge, because before when we did it last year, I think we did Basingstoke and Burnley.
Yeah.
And it's easy because they're easy, the offices, because there's a lot more people in those offices. And it was like, well, what about the rest of the offices? You're like, okay, we can, but how do we do that? You know, at that point, we didn't. But because we have allies in many offices now, you can lean in and say, actually, Ben, we want to do Diwali. Can you go to the samosa shop and get the spread ready? But 18 months ago, we couldn't do that because we didn't have
the community.
We didn't have this,
using it.
this building block, as you say, to be able to do that. And we cover that across all offices, which we'd never done before.
Yeah.
For me, it's a huge achievement in itself, if you think about it. But at the time, we're just trying to get through it and trying to get everyone on board. But we've had, you know, Harlow, MTR, lots of offices say, what can we do to get involved? And sometimes, I don't know. And you just really, so having our calendar and structure now, we can actually start planning properly. But there's actually a lot of people that want to get involved and just don't know how, and sometimes we're like, well, what can we do? And it's going on that journey together, and I think that's what makes it more exciting, because there's no rule, but we're all learning together, and that's what creates those bonds, because you have some funny times and laughs along the way, and we get something amazing out of it.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to be starting to wrap up soon, but I just wanted to, before we wrap up, I just wanted to ask you, Ben, what is your proudest moment as an ally?
So far,
we've
got a long way to go, I think, still. But I think you're looking over the last 12 months, it's probably Black History Month, you know, meeting you, getting to talk so much in the background of that, and Louis, obviously, all the work in the background and the prep that we did for that. I think the look and feel from a creative side, the execution we did was really great for that particular campaign. The team togetherness was something I'd take away from that.
Phenomenal.
That when we used to finish the webinars that were live, and we'd all quickly jump on a little huddle call afterwards, and everyone was like,
buzzing.
yeah, absolutely.
I remember the first one, we were cheering.
We stood up.
Buzzing, everyone giving each other so much, you know, just support, and that's what this is all about, right? So, you know, all of that sort of great feeling, that just really together, close-knit team, and the relationships afterwards. Like, I can't see Louis bouncing around without smiling. You know, you just bring a smile to your face. So, yeah, proudest moment so far would be that, I think.
Fantastic. And lastly, what is some parting advice that you would give to allies?
So allies, specifically allies, it would just be stay open-minded. Step out your comfort zone a little bit if you're, you know, on the fence. And the last one, if you just need to speak to anybody, reach out. And if it's me, reach out to me. You know, I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody if they just wanted to quickly talk about it. So, yeah, that'll be it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, that wraps up that session of Inside Out. Thank you for joining. And I just want to end by saying thank you so much, Ben, for all the support that you've given us and the continued support that we'll be getting from you.
Absolutely.
It's been really beneficial for you, and I hope everyone will join us for our next session.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like to join our ERG, or you have any feedback on the topics that we discussed today, or you have any ideas for topics to discuss in future sessions, please get in touch using the link in the description.